Blockchain thrown around a ton, right? It's connected to everything from crypto to supply chains. But what is it really? Let's break down this technology that honestly promises to reshape our entire digital world.
It all boils down to this one fundamental question. See, every single time you send money or share data online, you're putting your trust in a central authority, a bank, a big tech company, to get it right. But what if we didn't have to? What if we could build trust directly into the system itself?
You know, the core idea is way simpler than it sounds. Just picture a book club. Everybody in the club has their own copy of a shared list that tracks who has which book. Now, if one person tries to secretly change their copy, say claiming they returned a book when they totally didn't, it just wouldn't match anyone else's list. The whole group would instantly know something's up. And that, in a nutshell, is blockchain. Okay, so let's make that idea a little more official. At its heart, blockchain is really just a new way to record and share information. Think of it as a totally new kind of digital record keeping.
Now you see these three big words here? Decentralized, distributed, and immutable. They're the magic ingredients. Distributed just means everyone in the network has a copy, like our book club. Decentralized means there's no single person or company in charge. And immutable, that means once a record is written down, it's incredibly difficult to change. It's basically locked in forever.
So, how exactly does it pull off that whole unchangeable thing? Well, it's all about how the records, which we call blocks, are chained together. Every single block has three main parts. First, you've got the data itself, like a list of financial transactions. Second, it gets a unique hash. Just think of this as a special digital fingerprint for everything inside that block. And third, and this is the really clever part, it contains the digital fingerprint of the block that came right before it.
And this is what creates that super strong connection. So first, you collect a bunch of transactions. Then you generate that unique fingerprint, and you stamp the previous block's fingerprint onto it. By doing this, you're cryptographically linking them, forging a brand new link in a chain where every single link depends on the one before it.
And this is the brilliant part. This is where the security genius comes in. If a hacker tries to go back and alter a transaction in an old block, even by a tiny bit, its digital fingerprint changes instantly. And since the next block in the chain is looking for the original fingerprint, the link just breaks. The entire chain after that point becomes invalid, and everyone on the network can see the tampering clear as day.
But, you know, that cryptographic chain is really only half the story. The other, equally important half is the decentralized network that actually maintains it.
You have to get this. There is no single main computer, no central server anywhere. The ledger, that shared document, exists at the same time on thousands of different computers. We call them nodes all over the world. This distribution of power makes it almost impossible to censor and means there's no single point of failure.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, if no one's in charge, who decides what gets added, right? Well, it happens through a process called consensus. All the computers in the network have to collectively agree that a new block of transactions is legit before it can get added to the chain. It's how the entire network stays honest and in sync.
Now, there are a couple of major ways the network comes to an agreement. Bitcoin's proof of work is basically a massive computational race. Miners all compete to solve a really hard puzzle, and the winner gets to add the next block. It's super secure but uses a ton of energy. On the other hand, you have systems like Ethereum's proof of stake. Here, people lock up their own crypto. They put skin in the game for a chance to be chosen to validate the next block. It's way more energy efficient because it's secured by an economic incentive, not just raw computing power.
All right, it's really important to get that not all blockchains are the same. This isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of technology. There are different types for different jobs.
So you've basically got two main flavors, public and private. Public blockchains, like Bitcoins, are like a public park, completely open. Anybody can join in and see the entire history of transactions. Private blockchains are permissioned, more like a private club where an organization controls who's allowed in. You can imagine a company using one to manage its supply chain. They want that control over who can see their sensitive data.
And that honestly brings us to what I think is the most exciting part. Because while this all started with Bitcoin and digital money, the potential uses for this technology go far, far beyond that.
I mean, seriously, the possibilities here are just huge. Imagine trekking food from the farm all the way to your table to guarantee it's authentic, or creating voting systems that are completely tamper-proof. What about having real, actual control over your own healthcare records? Or these things called smart contracts, which are basically agreements written in code that execute themselves automatically when the conditions are met. No lawyers needed. It's incredible.
And we're not just talking theory here, okay? The economic potential is just staggering. Major analysts at Gartner are projecting the blockchain is going to generate over $3 trillion in business value by 2030. This is a massive shift in how our industries are going to work.
So after all of that, what's the one big idea you should really walk away with? What's the revolution that's actually happening here?
It's this. Blockchain's real power, its true promise, is that it lets us create trust in environments where there is none. We don't have to rely solely on big institutions anymore to verify the truth for us. We can rely on pure cryptography and distributed agreement.
And when you build on that kind of trust, you get these incredible benefits: radical transparency, security that's way stronger against tampering, huge gains in efficiency by cutting out the intermediaries, and of course, the ability to trace the history of almost anything with total certainty.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. As we move into the future, what parts of our world, the systems in our daily lives, that currently rely on a middleman for trust, what parts of that world could be completely rebuilt on this new foundation? From finance to politics to how we interact online, the possibilities are really just beginning to unfold.